There is a painting of Vasco da Gama you have seen in every history textbook. He stands in the center of a Mughal-looking hall. His arm is raised, his chin is lifted, he is wearing silk and a fur-trimmed cape. The Zamorin of Calicut is seated to his left, smaller than him, in a turban, looking up. The painting is the moment Europe arrives in India. It is a painting of a moment that did not happen this way. The painting itself is enormous, 3 meters tall, 3.5 meters wide, oil on canvas. It was painted in 1897 by a Portuguese academic painter named José Veloso Salgado. It hangs in Lisbon in the building of the Geographical Society. In 1898, it won the gold medal in the painting competition organized to commemorate 400 years since the discovery of the sea route to India. 400 years. Salgado was painting a moment that no one alive had seen. The moment had a date, the 28th of May 1498. Vasco da Gama had landed 8 days earlier at Capat Beach near Calicut with a fleet of 4 ships. He went to the palace with 11 men and his sailor Alvaro Velho, who would later write the official account of the voyage. They walked through 4 doors before they reached the Zamorin. Alvaro Velho wrote in his journal that at every door they had to force their way through, giving many blows to the people. The Zamorin was not on a throne. He was reclined on a couch covered in green velvet. He was holding a large golden spittoon for the husks of the betel nuts he was chewing. Besides him was a gold basin for herbs. There were silver jugs on the floor. He was dressed in silk, pearls, gold. Vasco was offered fruit and water. He was asked to a translator why he had come. He said he was the ambassador of King Manuel of Portugal and he had come looking for Christians and spices. He had brought gifts. Alvaro Velho lists them: 12 pieces of stripped cotton cloth, 4 scarlet hoods, 6 hats, 4 strings of coral, a case of 6 wash hand basins, a case of sugar, 2 casks of oil, 2 casks of honey. These were the kind of trade goods the Portuguese had been using on the West African coast. They had worked there. They did not work here. The Zamorin's officers refused to forward the gifts. They told Vasco, in writing, the poorest merchants from Mecca or any other part of India gave more. This was not a personal verdict. Calicut had been the pepper capital of the Indian Ocean for 300 years before Vasco arrived. Its spice trade was already run by Mapila Muslim merchants and by Arab and Persian traders who had been doing business there for generations. They saw a Portuguese fleet as a direct commercial threat. They lobbied the Zamorin against admitting the Portuguese. Zamorin's coolness was not surprise at a stranger. It was a court already organized against him. Now look at the painting again. Salgado painted the Zamorin's palace as a Mughal hall, with domes and Saracenic arches and Persian carpets. The Zamorin's palace at Calicut had none of these. It was Kerala-style wooden architecture, low-ceilinged with sloping tiled roofs. Salgado painted the Zamorin upright on a throne. He was reclined on a couch. Salgado painted Vasco at the center of the room, arm raised, the focus of attention. Vasco was the supplicant. He was the man bringing 6 wash hand basins. Salgado painted gold being offered to Vasco. The wealth flowed the other way. The painting is everything the meeting was not. What happened after the audience was not painted? The Zamorin gave Vasco permission to land his merchandise and trade. The Muslim merchants made sure no one bought it. When Vasco tried to return to his ships, the Zamorin's officers attempted to seize them. Vasco had anchored offshore. He was held under guard while the officers demanded he unload all Portuguese goods as the condition of his release. He refused, broke free, took hostages from Calicut and sailed away. He arrived back in Lisbon 2 years and 2 months later with half of his men dead and no trade agreement with the Zamorin of Calicut. 392 years later, in 1890, Britain forced Portugal to give up its claim to the African corridor between Angola and Mozambique, the so-called Pink Map. The Portuguese monarchy was humiliated in public. The damage was so severe it contributed 20 years later to the revolution that ended the monarchy. 8 years after that humiliation, the Portuguese state organized a year of national celebrations, marking 400 years since Vasco da Gama's voyage. New coins were struck, an aquarium was built, and the Geographical Society held a painting competition. Veloso Salgado won the gold medal. So this is not a painting of 1498, it is a painting of 1898, looking back and wishing. A country that had just been humiliated by an empire needed Vasco to have arrived 400 years earlier in glory, so they painted it. The painting was so persuasive, it replaced the memory of the event. We are still teaching it, we are still teaching the painting, and we are calling it history.